Shalom. I wanted to come and speak to you about 501c3. I found a very good article. I did not know where it originated from, and this article explains that. And I just wanted to say that when the Most High calls you to do something, I really believe in my heart, from what I've read in the Word, that He will provide every means for you to accomplish what He's called you to do. And just have faith in Him. He'll clear that path for you and provide the means. So I just will read this now, this article, and you can come to your own conclusions. There may be someone out there that is considering starting a ministry and is thinking about this and not sure, and maybe this will help you to understand better. Should churches apply for 501c3? This is the Revenue Act of 1954, which was put in effect by Lyndon B. Johnson. Most churches and ministries in America have organized as incorporated 501c3 tax-exempt religious organizations. This is a fairly recent trend that has only been going on for about 50 years. Churches were only added to Section 501c3 of the tax code in 1954. We can thank Senator Lyndon B. Johnson for this. Johnson was no ally of the church. As part of his political agenda, Johnson had it in mind to silence the church and eliminate the significant influence the church had always had on shaping public policy. Although Johnson preferred this as a favor to churches, the favor also came with many, many strings attached. One need not look far to see the devastating effects that 501c3 acceptance has had to the church and the consequent restrictions placed upon any 501c3 church. 501c3 churches are prohibited from addressing in any tangible way the vital issues of the day. The 501c3 has had a chilling effect upon the free speech rights of the church. Did the church ever need to seek permission from the government to be exempt from taxes? Were churches prior to 1954 taxable? The answer is no. Churches have never been taxable. To be taxable, one would first need to be under the jurisdiction and therefore under the taxing authority of the government. The First Amendment clearly places the church outside the jurisdiction of the civil government. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, nor prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Religion cannot be free if you have to pay the government through taxation to exercise it. Since churches aren't taxable in the first place, why do so many of them go to the IRS and seek permission to be tax exempt? It just doesn't make sense. Most churches also incorporate. At law, a corporation is a creature of the state, and the state is sovereign over all corporations. Not only are there immense legal ramifications, there are also huge theological ramifications to any church incorporating. By definition, an incorporated church is a state church. Christians and non-Christians alike talk about a separation of church and state. Both sides have their opinions, but in many respects, both sides are wrong. Non-Christians are often wrong because they don't understand the original intent of the Founding Fathers. However, Christians often err as well because they fail to appreciate what the church has become. Most churches today aren't acting like they're separate from the state at all. They act like they're subordinate to the state. They act like they need the state and the permission of the state to function. Surely this cannot be deliberate, but must be based upon gross ignorance of the law. It also seems to be based upon everyone else is incorporating and getting their 501c3. Guess we ought to go do it too. Just because everyone else is doing it, does that make it right? What is the tax law regarding churches? According to the IRS, Churches are automatically tax exempt and tax deductible without ever having to apply for 501c3 status. A 501c3 status is not necessary for any church or ministry. When they do apply and become a 501c3 church or ministry, they place themselves under the regulatory control of the IRS and all the potential threat and intimidation that comes along with it. Why would any pastor or ministry want that when it is not at all necessary? It just doesn't make any sense. Thankfully, there's a remedy. Churches, ministries, you can stop rendering unto Caesar those things which belong exclusively to God. I thought this was a very good article and helped give much understanding. It was we saw went by a ministry in our hometown and to see if there was any needs or anything and what it was about because it's something that had newly opened and they said the only thing that they could not accept was any religious material and they could not minister to people. And I'm thinking, wow, you're a homeless shelter and people need the Lord. I mean, they need to hear and to depend on God. And because they're a 501c3 status, they can't even mention God to the people at all. And I found that so sad because if you're a ministry, isn't that what it's all about? Just to tell them about God and to teach them and that He loves them and to depend on Him and have faith in Him. So I just wanted to read this article, and you can come to your own conclusions. I had no idea where it originated, so I thought it was very good information. So I'll end this here. So just shalom and go and be blessed.